Hi, I'm Mike. I'm the video editor at CTL. This video is simple tech tips for making high quality content online. So if you are making video content outside of what you would be streaming during a lecture or something, this is some tips that will help you with that. In this video, this is what I'll be covering. We will be using what you have at your disposal, and we'll be finding ways to make your videos look better. We'll be finding ways to make your videos sound better. We'll discuss some basic terminology you'll come across, and I will point you to some basic resources that are affordable or free. First up, looking good on camera. As a general rule, you want to prevent hard shadows and you want soft or diffused light. If you're using outside light, you can diffuse it by slightly closing the blinds or putting a white sheet over the window. You can cover the window in white parchment paper if you want to soften the light. That's a little indie film trick. If you're using a lamp pointed at a nearby surface to bounce light, like a wall or the ceiling, this is a way to soften the light. Keep the background uncluttered and not distracting. Also, if you're feeling vain, Zoom has a filter to smooth out your skin. Here's a photographic example of the difference between hard and soft light. As you can see, the one on the right looks a little bit better. Some camera tips. If you're streaming, your built-in laptop webcam will get you by generally, especially if you're doing a lot of slides-based lectures. There are some good external webcams available for a range of prices. I would say your best bet to finding those is to sink 30 minutes into watching a YouTube video review or checking out what people who are doing a lot of streaming online recommend. You don't need to spend a lot of money on a webcam. You can find some for under $50 that do HD. If you're recording videos to be edited later, rather than going out and buying a camera, you can use your phone. It has a great camera, record using it, upload your videos to your preferred cloud service like Google Drive, and download and edit it. Just a tip with the phone thing, the front-facing camera is lower quality than the back camera, and it has kind of a fisheye effect on some phones. So if you can shoot things with the back camera, do that. Make sure it's stabilized, and you can get some phone holders online for pretty affordable prices. Microphone tips. Your computer audio will be just fine 99% of the time. However, if you do want to invest in a microphone, there are some good affordable USB microphones. A USB mic, I would say, is recommended because otherwise you need to route an XLR mic through an interface adapters and into a recording device and back into your computer. So again, YouTube reviews are your best friend. If you want to buy a mic, just search for whatever you're looking for, top USB mics under blank, whatever your budget is, and a lot of options will come up. Look into what podcasters or people who stream online are using. There are some really affordable options. However, if you need to record some good, cheap voiceover, I would recommend actually just recording audio with your cell phone. The audio recorder app on most phones is really good. Some general sound tips. You want your room to be as quiet as possible, not near a vent or a fridge or an open space where people are talking or vacuuming. You want to try and find space that isn't echoey. If you have no choice, surround yourself with objects and cover the walls like pillows and blankets to absorb as much echo as possible. Some good, quiet, generally reverb-free places you can record in include your closet, inside of your car, or under a bed comforter. Just watch out, it gets hot under there. You'd be surprised how many YouTubers record their voiceover in a closet. As for editing software, if you're making some custom videos for your class, you will have to edit them. So here are some free options for you. iMovie is free, it's on Macs only, and it's very basic and it has some limitations. The PC version of that is Windows Movie Maker. Shotcut and OpenShot are available on all platforms, and they are open source, meaning that they have been created for the intention of sharing with everybody online for free. DaVinci Resolve is a professional video editing software, and there's a free version, which is actually pretty comprehensive. However, there's a bit of a learning curve there, and it might be intensive on your CPU. Similarly, Avid Media Composer First is a professional software, and it's also free with limitations. There's also Filmora, and then, of course, most editors that you can find as apps on your phone are free, but you just have to have the patience to be doing all of the work on your phone. Here are some editing software that cost money. There's Final Cut, $400, Magix Vegas, formerly Sony Vegas. Premiere Elements is under $100. It's like a starter version of Adobe Premiere. Similarly, Premiere Rush is a phone-based editor, which is very simple, but it requires a subscription to Adobe. Adobe Premiere is pretty much the industry standard these days, and there's a monthly subscription, about $35. That's what I edit on. Avid Media Composer Pro also has a monthly subscription, and DaVinci Resolve Studio, there's a $300 full version. And there may be others out there. As for editing theory, I won't break down how to edit. There's a lot of free tutorials online that teach this stuff. However, YouTube, I would say, is your best friend It will teach you literally everything, and just search for whatever skill level you're at, beginner editing Premiere, or if there's anything specific you want to learn. There's always a tutorial on YouTube for it. Also, you can get a cheap subscription to Skillshare. Also, if you have a library card, the Edmonton Public Library offers access to Lynda. You can also get books on video editing. That's how I learned. Basic principles haven't changed over the years, so if you have an older book, it most likely doesn't matter. Also, if you go the Adobe route, they offer free online tutorials. You can also take a course at FAVA if you want to learn from real people. It's the Film and Video Association. It's the local film co-op in Edmonton. Here's a quick primer on some technical information you'll definitely be coming across if you're doing some editing. So resolution is the size of the video image. That is how many pixels, and it's measured in width times height. The most common place you'll see these numbers is when you're selecting the resolution when you're watching a YouTube video. So you can see the numbers here, 3840 pixels across by 2160 pixels going up and down. Full HD is the next smaller size, also known as 1080p. So that's what your Blu-rays, your HD TV, and your Netflix usually streams at. Next smaller is HD or 720p. And below that is standard definition or SD, also known as 480p. DVDs and older TVs are this resolution. And then below that is 360, 240, 144. Basically a Nintendo DS or a Game Boy screen size resolution. It's a little too small for what we're working with. So I think HD 1080p is usually your best bet. Phones display in HD and can film up to 4K these days. So just an idea of what you have access to. So aspect ratio is the shape of the image. So 16:9 is a widescreen TV, now pretty standard. So when you see a rectangular shape, that's widescreen. 4:3 is square, kind of like TV shows from the 90s. So some formats you'll come across. MP4 is like an MP3 for video, so there's some compression there. .mov is Mac standard. It's cross-platform. It's also known as QuickTime. The next one down is some more PC-friendly formats. WMV is Windows Media. So H.264 is something you will also see. It is a compression technology, so it is the technology that creates MP4s. Also, just a quick primer on frame rates. FPS stands for frames per second. So if you see 30 frames per second, that's pretty standard, and it's usually your best bet when you're making a video. It's also, you might see 29.97, and then 24 FPS is the frame rate for movies. So when we're exporting our video and say we're exporting, it gives us some standard options. If we're trying to put something on YouTube, say, I would say that these are the friendliest specs these days. So 1920 by 1080, also known as HD, use MP4, H.264, 2 compression, 30 frames per second, and 16:9 aspect ratio. And most editing softwares will have built-in presets like YouTube, so you can usually just select those. Screen recording. If you've created slides with animations, you can record them as a video. Just present your slideshow with screen recording on. Here are the hotkeys for the two platforms so you can easily record your screen. You can also download your slides. So go into your slides program like Google Slides or PowerPoint and download your slides as images. Import those images into your editing software. Just make sure they're the same size as the project resolution. Otherwise, you might need to scale them up. So a quick example of how to do this, go to File, go to Download, and then select either JPEG or PNG of current slide. Here's a little quick note about optimizing your Zoom recordings. In Zoom, open your settings, select video. Make sure to turn 16:9 widescreen on and also enable HD. Also in settings, select recording. This gives you the option of separating your audio files. So say you're talking with an expert on a certain topic and there's some talking over each other, you can separate this audio this way. Most importantly, optimize for third-party video editors. This makes your file a little bit more friendly for use in a video editing software. Also make sure to highlight record video during screen sharing and place video next to the shared screen in the recording, just so if you're doing a shared screen and you want to have a little window at the top corner with your face in it while you're talking, this information and information about other softwares that will be useful to you in your teaching, please visit this page on the Center for Teaching and Learning section of the U Alberta website.